can we see it from a different perspective? Can we see it that China is just doing what all militaries do, which is, as you've also said about the US military, simply training to fight with the opponent. It's simply increasing its capabilities in order to do that, and that it's also developing this approach of peace through strength.
Well, I don't think that anyone who's rational would say that China's actions around Taiwan are peaceful. Encroaching within 24 nautical miles, dozens of ships, aircraft, flying close, harassing the Philippine Navy, harassing the Japanese. These are not things that countries do to prepare their military forces. This is an example of aggression by a superpower against smaller countries. So I don't buy the peace through strength argument regarding China and their attempt to try to make it sound like they're just preparing like anybody else doesn't make sense to me.
Let's pick up on an example. So Professor Matsuda, just recently Beijing sent its Liaoning aircraft carrier into the contiguous zone of Japan around the Yonaguni Island, which is the closest island to Taiwan. How do you see that as a Japanese? How do you see that? We've already seen that there's been aircraft flying into Japanese airspace the first time since World War II, and also very regular incursions into Japanese territorial waters, which is within 12 nautical miles of its coast.
The Russians and the Chinese actually were transiting through the Miyako Strait, like just actually last summer. However, the fact that this aircraft carrier transits through these waters between Iriomote and Yonaguni, which is actually within the Satsuma Islands, this is very provocative because and also this shows that the Chinese actually realize that these islands could be strategically important. There's a lot of realization in the U.S. that these islands could really, be a strategic asset to change the military balance over Taiwan. And I think this incursion into these waters actually show that China is taking note on that, and they're just manifesting that towards Japan and the United States.
And Guermantes, you wanted to reply?
Yeah. So, I'm a researcher, and one of the things that I like to research is what China thinks is its territory. And last year they came out with a map that added a 10th dashed line, which came right up close to Taiwan. But one of the things I found was a map by a Chinese tourist agency, and they show a map of also the 10 dash line, but they also show the water above Taiwan, which is quite large. They are saying it's Chinese territory, right. Territorial waters.
What's the date of that map?
It's this year. It's this year. It's not an official map by the PRC government, but it's a tourist map by a company in China showing what China's territory is.
So it basically claims Okinawa?
It basically claims all the waters between Taiwan and Okinawa. Yeah, so I suspect that maybe this year or next year they're going to have an 11th dash line and a 12th dash line that keeps on going up and up and around to Korea. So I think that their actions reflect this map. They think that those waters that they're crossing into are their territorial waters.
Right. Yes. I think this is they're being increasingly vocal about that claim. Now, Guermantes, the U.S. is amassing anti-ship weapons. It's described as gathering an affordable mass, and this is to deter China. So, tell us more about Quick Sync and why the U.S. thinks that this will be effective.
Quick Sync is an experimental weapon design for dumb bombs. In this case, it's a 2,000-pound bomb that got smart, like a JDAM. And the difference is that a JDAM just basically falls down and gets the target very accurately. This one glides to the target. And so what this does is it makes, the U.S. has lots of dumb bombs, and they can produce quite a lot of them. So what this does, it makes it a smart bomb. And so it can maneuver to a location that puts it right on target to a ship. And so what they've done is they did an experiment where they had a large frigate, a U.S. frigate, old frigate, Perry class, and they dropped the the bomb, and it glided perfectly to the ship, and it broke it in half.
Right. Now, China, of course, would say this sort of thing and this sort of news is provocative, that it's starting or contributing to an arms race. But what's what's your view of that?
Look, both sides are developing weapons, and it's natural. It's part of the process that militaries do. And the difference is that the U.S. publicizes a lot of its weapons tests, and China doesn't. They hide a lot of stuff. And so
do you think it's leveling the play?
Well, yeah, I mean, China has developed a huge armada of drones in the air, on the sea, under the sea. And so Taiwan and the U.S. are trying to deal with this challenge of thousands of drones coming at Taiwan. And so what this does is it would destroy the Navy of China, the PLA Navy, and would prevent them from conducting perhaps a blockade or a invasion.